This is News 8 Now, this morning.
Do your research on the referendum questions ahead of time. They're long questions, so there's going to be a lot of reading at the polls. We feel that's probably what's going to back up the polls, if anything does, is just the time it's going to take voters to get through all the referendum questions.
Before the pandemic, supply chain wasn't something most Americans spent much time thinking about. But today, after delays for parts and products, everyone knows why supply chains are so important. Instead of relying on equipment made overseas in places like China, the supply chains will be again made in America. They'll begin in America.
The program runs until funds are exhausted. Each family can request up to $1,000 of aid. To be approved for the aid, they would need to bring in their current Xcel Energy bill, their disconnect notice, proof of residency, and proof of income.
Good morning, everyone. That was your morning eye-opener. I'm Sophia Pullman.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is April 4th. Holy buckets.
Holy buckets. That's a new expression. Okay.
March flew by.
I might steal that from
Holy
from
buckets?
You. Yeah, I like that.
April's going to fly by, too.
Yeah, I know. Already the 4th day.
I know.
It's crazy how fast it's going. We're jumping more into that spring season.
I hope so.
Yeah, you'll notice that it will be warming up, especially in the forecast here next week.
Okay.
I got highs in the 60s, so I think we all like that.
Right up my alley.
Unfortunately, though, it's going to be pretty wet today. And we're also talking about some thunderstorms here, too, as we head into this evening, which we'll get to here in a second. But I do want to tell you, or let you know right now at least, that we are looking at a mainly cloudy start here this morning. So if you're hoping for a nice sunrise, I don't think that's going to happen here for us this morning, as those clouds are going to continue to roll in across our location here this morning and just kind of cover up the skies here, as you can see there on the satellite picture. Temperatures this morning are into the 30s and 40s. It's a little bit warmer in La Crosse, 42, but a little cooler in Eau Claire this morning, 35. Ladysmith, way to the north, is at 32. 41 in Viroqua, 43 Prairie du Chien, and Boscobel is currently at 45 degrees. So those cloudy skies are going to continue here through those later morning hours. By 11 o'clock this morning, it will be raining here, it looks like, and maybe even some more rain here between around 1 and 3 o'clock, followed by some scattered showers between 5 and 7 p.m. this evening, with temperatures mainly, again, into the 40s today, and east to northeasterly winds at around 10 to 20 miles an hour as well. We'll be talking about some thunderstorms, though, as we head into the later evening hours here tonight. I'll be talking about that, and we'll time things out here coming up a little bit later in the full weather forecast. Sophia?
Thanks, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. Wisconsin's spring election is today. As you begin to head to the polls, here's a reminder of what could be on your ballot. North Side La Crosse voters will decide 2 new Common Council members. Voters in the La Crosse School District will elect 4 new school board members from 8 candidates and vote on a $60 million operating referendum. We have a statewide advisory referendum on welfare, and La Crosse, Eau Claire, and Vernon counties have an advisory referendum on the state's current abortion ban. Those votes will not lead to any legal changes. Every state voter will decide on a Supreme Court race and a binding referendum on bail reform. There are also several school district referendas across our viewing area. The La Crosse County Clerk has a major piece of advice when it comes to referendum questions.
Do your research on the referendum questions ahead of time. They're long questions, so there's going to be a lot of reading at the polls. We feel that's probably what's going to back up the polls, if anything does, is just the time it's going to take voters to get through all the referendum questions.
If you are registered to vote, bring an ID like a passport or driver's license. In Wisconsin, you can register at your polling place. If you still need to register, you need to bring a proof of residence, a photo ID, and your driver's license. If you'd like to confirm what's on your ballot, you can check myvote.wisconsin.gov. There are 2 questions on today's ballot that could change the Wisconsin state constitution. News 8 Now's Dua Schrar explains how voters could change the way bail is set.
When voters head to the polls, they'll be voting for more than just candidates.
This is a constitutional amendment in Wisconsin. It's a lot tougher to change the wording than it is that you would normally just change with a statute.
Currently, the state constitution allows judges to consider how likely the defendant is to appear in court and protect community members from serious bodily harm. The First Amendment would change the Constitution to say serious harm. The second would allow judges to consider things like prior convictions for a violent crime when setting bail.
Well, right now the judges are supposed to only set a cash bond if someone's a risk to not appear in the future. This would change that. So judges could look at the seriousness of the crime or the risk to the public and impose a higher cash bond.
Why is this amendment on your ballot? The proposal has passed in the 2 required successive legislature sessions. The Darrell Brooks case brought even more attention.
What happened in Waukesha was a wake-up call.
Brooks had been released on a $1,000 bail 5 days before he drove an SUV through Waukesha's Christmas parade in late 2021.
I think people get confused by what bail is for and frustrated when people are out when they commit very dangerous crimes.
La Crosse County District Attorney Tim Grinke says while the amendments are a step towards bail reform, there needs to be more.
It makes sense that you should consider dangerousness, but what doesn't make sense is to use some amount of cash attached to that.
Critics of the amendment say this will affect people with lower incomes, something Grinke agrees with.
The idea that some people can post bond and get out and others can't just because they don't have money doesn't seem fair.
Reporting in La Crosse, Dua Esrar, News 8 Now.
Currently, there is no definition for what serious harm means. The legislature has passed a bill for the definition, but Governor Tony Evers has not signed it into law. If these constitutional amendments pass and Evers vetoes the bill, judges will be able to pick and choose what's considered as serious harm. Dan Kelly made a visit to French Island on his last day of the statewide campaign tour on Monday. He spoke to voters about his aim to protect rights and freedom as they're written in the state constitution. Kelly's made stops in Janesville and Waukesha to end his tour. Democrats representing the Coulee region came together for another state budget listening session. Monday, voters in West Salem wrote down questions on budget-related topics for Assemblyman Steve Doyle and State Senator Brad Pfaff. Some top concerns focused on relief on Social Security taxes and tax breaks for caregivers. The legislature's Joint Finance Committee is working on their version of the next budget to send to Governor Evers' desk. La Crosse Municipal Transit is offering free rides today for Election Day, but one route will look a little different. MTU bus stops from East Avenue and La Crosse Street to Pine Street and Campbell Road will be closed. Both Route 4 buses will use La Crosse Street to 22nd Street and 22nd Street to Campbell Road. Temporary bus stops will be set up at the corners of East Ave and La Crosse Street and Hillside Ave. New parking prices are now in effect. From now on, people parking in ramps will have to pay $1 for every hour. There's an $8 maximum. The Riverside ramp will stay free. Overnight hours and weekend hours will stay free as well. It was a birthday to remember for West Salem's Zoe Coder. She suffered a traumatic brain injury in a car accident last fall and received a hero's welcome right outside her door on Monday. Dozens participated in a Coder caravan, driving past Coder's house with waves, birthday cards, and a few stuffed dinosaurs. Organizers said it was a chance for friends and community members to cheer on her progress. A close friend says she hopes Zoe felt the love as everyone drove by.
It's just really to show her that this community has her back and that so many people love her, because this year more than ever it's so important because she's been through so much and she deserves the world.
Zoe officially turned 17 on Monday. For more information on her journey, we'll post a link on news8000.com. This morning, we are announcing more winners for the Best of La Crosse County contest, an annual event where the people of the community vote their favorite spots in certain categories. There's some established names and some hidden gems. Let's take a look. If you are looking to add new cabinets to your house, the Board Store Home Improvements Incorporation earned the top spot, followed by Kitchen Solvers of La Crosse coming in second, and Ball Disease Lumber Co. Incorporation in Onalaska placing third. And if you need new flooring to be installed, placing first is Carpets to Go. The Board Store Home Improvements Incorporation coming in second, and coming in third is Interior Designs Incorporation. If looking to replace your windows, the Board Store Home Improvements Incorporation came in first place, followed by Clear Choice Window and Home Solutions in second, and Window World of La Crosse took home third. The best ambiance in La Crosse County goes to Love Child, followed by Red Pines Bar and Grill in second, and Pettibone Boat Club in third. Looking to satisfy your sweet tooth? Linda's Bakery was voted best bakery sweets in La Crosse County. Second is Meringue Bakery and Cafe, and third place belongs to Cupcake Artistry. There's more categories for the best of La Crosse, and here at News 8 Now, we will share more throughout the week. Still ahead on your morning news, how Xcel Energy is making it easier for families to pay their energy bill, and why old electronics could bring in some cash during your spring cleaning. That and more coming up this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. A Milwaukee Brewers raffle win has changed the lives of one couple. New parents Aaron and Cassie Murphy had spent more than a year going through fertility treatment and were running out of resources. Then the couple went to a Brewers game last April and ended up winning $18,000 from a 50-50 raffle. The money went towards more treatment, and they were pregnant by June. And Foster Murphy was born in February, just in time for yesterday's opening day. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning after the break.
Well, sure is a mainly cloudy start here this morning across the Coulee region. That is going to eventually start to lead to some rain showers, so maybe bear that in mind here as you head off towards dog walking here this afternoon especially, and then maybe even some scattered remaining showers here as we head into the early evening. So for your zone forecast today, La Crosse County, our high temperatures will be reaching the 40s. In fact, in Onalaska, you're looking at 46, 44 in West Salem. Further south you go, we're looking at highs into the upper 40s with 49 in Lansing, and then looking at low 40s here across our central zones with highs reaching 41 in Melrose and 43 in Sparta. The Chippewa Valley today will be looking at highs mainly into the upper 30s come this afternoon. Your best stop forecast this morning does call for mostly cloudy skies to start. Temperatures will be at around 39 degrees, and then on the way home we will be looking at 44 degrees. But however, we could start to tap into some of those at least light rain showers beginning to move through, and some of those showers may even turn heavy at times here as well, which by the way we'll talk about coming up in another check in your full weather forecast. And I'll time out the severe weather chances here as we head into the later afternoon and also into the evening hours coming up in just a bit.
In your morning consumer news, Xcel Energy customers struggling to pay for heat and energy can now get a helping hand from Xcel and the La Crosse County Salvation Army. The partnership created Heat Share, an extension with Xcel's Home Energy Assistance Program. Families in need can apply for one-time bill assistance of up to $1,000 between now and October 1st. Since the program is on a first-come, first-served basis, Salvation Army officials say it's better to act now.
The program runs until funds are exhausted. Each family can request up to $1,000 of aid. To be approved for the aid, they would need to bring in their current Xcel Energy bill, their disconnect notice, proof of residency, and proof of income.
If you need help, you can call the Salvation Army to schedule an appointment. We have the link with eligibility criteria and more info on our website. Some McDonald's employees are not going to be loving it, not after being handed pink slips. The restaurant has told all corporate employees to work from home this week in anticipation of layoffs. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. What's not clear is exactly why they are firing workers or how many will be affected. Sales were up about 11% last year, and Mickey D's is planning to open just shy of 2,000 new restaurants this year. A change is coming to General Motors. GM has decided to get rid of Apple CarPlay and Android Auto systems for its future electric vehicles. The current system is popular because it allows drivers to mirror their smartphone screens in a vehicle's dashboard display. But the car maker is switching to a built-in dashboard made by Google. The change will take effect in 2024, Chevrolet Blazer next year. When booking flights, do you worry the price will drop after you buy your tickets? Well, now Google is testing a price guarantee program to get rid of buyer's remorse. Here's how it works. You go to Google Flights and type in where and when you want to travel, find the trip and book it. Google then monitors the price until departure. If the fare goes down, you get the difference back through Google Pay. The pilot program only applies to those who book it on Google in the U.S. So many of us have a drawer full of old technology, from cell phones to tablets to headphones. If tidying it up is part of your spring cleaning list, there are some new ways you can get rid of old technology and maybe even get some cash for it. Bradley Blackburn reports.
You just kind of let it sit there because you don't have time. I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later.
CNET senior editor Bridget Carey has more gadgets than most.
We're turning, and my guy is turning.
It's her job to cover them. Still, she's not the only one drowning in a sea of dusty devices.
We found in surveys that 3 out of 4 people have just old tech lying around, not just old phones, but tablets, old kids tech. You just don't know what to do with it.
But there are plenty of ways to clear the mess, and technology is part of the solution. Carey recommends websites like Declutter, It's Worth More, and Buyback World, which will pay for old devices and cover shipping.
They will buy back things like headphones, and so they're going to pay me $25 for this if I turn these in if I want something new. Same with these over-the-ear headphones. These go for about $40 online right now.
Even the oldest gadgets can earn money on eBay, and if you don't want to go online, you can take your tech to stores like Best Buy. They'll offer a gift card for certain products.
The longer this stuff sits in your drawer, the less valuable it becomes.
Right. You can get a little bit more when the tech is a little newer and when the tech is a little more of a hot product.
Some companies and many cities have e-waste programs and will recycle old gadgets, chargers, and cables. Carey says the lithium batteries inside today's electronics can be harmful to the environment if tossed in a landfill.
They have to be handled differently than just everyday trash. We all want to be a little more responsible.
That can lead to a cleaner home and planet, and maybe a fuller wallet.
Carey says before you resell or recycle your devices, be sure to perform a full factory reset to wipe off any personal data that you don't want in the wrong hands. That's it for your morning consumer news. Let's check in with Derek in today's forecast.
All right, thanks so much for that, Sophia. Sure is a mainly cloudy start here this morning across the Cooley region. As you can see behind me there from City Cam 8, current temperatures now in La Crosse 42 degrees underneath those cloudy skies. Hey, but at least our visibility is looking nice and clear at around 10 miles. A bit of a wind chill, though, because it does feel like 37 thanks to that east-northeast wind breeze. Very light, though, at around 8 miles an hour. Meanwhile, to the north in Eau Claire, we are currently sitting at 35 degrees under partly cloudy skies, but it does feel a little cooler than that at 29 degrees thanks to that northeast wind breeze at around 8 miles an hour here this morning. Look at all the clouds that continue to roll in here from the west, and this is all associated with what is developing here to our west in the form of a broad trough of low pressure. We're going to be watching the associated frontal boundary, the stationary frontal boundary here, if you will, to our south, because the thinking is that will turn more into a warm front as it continues to lift towards the north and eventually spark off some showers and thunderstorms. And some of those thunderstorms today from that system may even turn strong to even severe. In fact, as you can see, this is a bit of a deja vu effect here, because last Friday we were looking at almost a very similar map in the form of that we had some high risk areas, but we're actually seeing a little bit lower here risk of severe weather here today, but still rather significant, because as you can see, we have a moderate risk here over portions of Iowa into Illinois. We also have yet another one here across portions of the deep south. Basically the same areas that got hit on Friday are the same areas that are going to be seeing the severe weather here today. As a matter of fact, here in the Cooley region, we are under a level 2 slight risk of seeing severe weather here for ourselves. That means that scattered severe thunderstorms are possible. So here's the main risk. We're talking about hail being the primary risk here, followed by gusty winds being the second primary risk. The third risk looks like it will probably be isolated tornadoes. So I think isolated tornadoes is probably going to be the lowest risk that we'll see. Further south you are, the better chance of seeing that severe weather. But really hail and gusty winds will be the main threats between 8 to 11 p.m. here this evening. So mostly cloudy skies around 6 o'clock. Here comes the rain moving in around noon today, followed by some scattered rain showers by around 4. Then we're talking about some thunderstorms as we head into this evening as this low pressure system moves in our general direction. So the warm front will be positioned just to the south of us by noon today. You can see some scattered showers, maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder associated with that. Now by 3 o'clock, maybe some light showers here are still possible. Here's 7 o'clock, a couple of light sprinkles here still possible. Now by 10 o'clock, this is when the main wave of thunderstorms will be moving through, and I do expect by 10 o'clock this evening that everybody will be dealing with either rain or thunderstorms as the system continues to track in our location. Now by 2 o'clock, the main low is going to be over us. That means everything should be clearing out of here by that point, and then 6 o'clock it will be right on top of us for that low. That's not anything to really necessarily worry about, but mostly that our pressure will just drop. And then we're just looking at cloudy skies. And by 11 a.m., cloudy skies kind of wrapping around the backside of the storm system, followed by some colder air moving through, changing the precipitation over to snow here, mainly to the north. A couple of light flakes here are possible as we head into Wednesday, but I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of that. Gusty conditions here as we head into the afternoon, and also as we head into tomorrow. Gusts up to 35 or plus miles an hour are possible, and then the wind speed should relax as we head into Thursday. So looking ahead, once this system continues to exit the area here by tomorrow afternoon, here comes high pressure moving in as we head into Thursday and Friday. That should create some nicer weather here for us to work with by the end of the work week, with some warmer temperatures as well. In fact, highs will reach the mid-60s. Our next storm system will give us a slight chance of thunderstorms to work with by Sunday. Then we're in the clear here early next week with mild temperatures as highs climb to the 60s again. Stay with us. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. We're taking a quick break with a look at what happened on this day in history for April 4th. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. Being a referee is not an easy job in any sport. So when I heard that there was a freshman at Melrose Mindoro High School that was working towards becoming a WIAA certified volleyball referee, I had to go find out more. Paige Spores went out for volleyball for 1 year in 8th grade, and when she returned to the court the next year, she decided to become a referee. Melman volleyball coach David Waraxa told me he thought she was joking or that she wasn't going to go through with it. But to his surprise, Paige showed up and was ready to step in as an official. It's not a path that many high schoolers are willing to take, but Spores saw it as an opportunity to help.
We've always had like a shortage of officials, and these kids deserve to play. So I mean, like when our coach approached me, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And it just sounded really fun to me anyways.
Spores isn't WIAA certified yet. She's helping with middle school spring tournaments at Melrose Mindoro, but the volleyball team is going to sponsor her and help make sure she gets through the process so she can get her certification. Coach Waraxa knows things like this don't happen often, and he wants to make sure she has the support she needs.
Back when I was in high school, our volleyball coach and basketball coach encouraged us to become officials, and I make a point of telling my kids to do that. And I'm glad to actually see that we have someone who's embracing it and doing such a great job.
Well, if all goes as planned, Spores will get a restricted certification later this year, which means she'll be able to officiate anybody that's younger than she is. So if you're a middle school volleyball game next fall, look out for Paige Spores. All right, and today was opening day for La Crosse Central as the Riverhawks hosted Sparta down at Copeland Park. Bottom of the first, and Tyler Young ropes went out to left field. Diving catch not good enough, and that means Mason Elston will come in to score. It's 1-0 Central. And a few batters later, 2 on for Casey Erickson. First at bat of the year, and Erickson sends this to Granddad Bluff. A 3-run shot over the right field wall. That's one way to get your senior year started. 4-0 Central. Still in the first, 2 on for Elston. Ground ball gets through into left field. Both runners come in to score. 8 runs in the first inning, and that was the difference maker. 10-0 the final. All right, that's it for the Morning Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
An estimated 1 in 6 people globally are affected by infertility. Researchers at the World Health Organization say the condition is common based on a new report that found rates of infertility are similar across all countries and regions. Researchers did not determine whether global infertility rates have been increasing or decreasing over time. Infertility is defined as not being able to conceive after a year of having unprotected sex. Finland becomes an official NATO member today, nearly a year after it first applied following Russia's invasion of Ukraine. NATO's border with Russia doubles with the addition of Finland, though the world's biggest security alliance says it has no plans to send additional troops there. The state of Minnesota updated its criminal sexual conduct statutes in 2021, including ending time limitations for reporting assault and closing the voluntary intoxication loophole. And in 2022, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension announced the launch of Track Kit, a program which allows victim survivors to track their evidence as it goes through the testing process. Sarah Nemi, executive director of PAVSA, says these steps are all creating a better path for justice for victim survivors.
We've been working to improve our response in Duluth, St. Louis County, and Minnesota. We have put in place safeguards to prevent future backlogs. Survivors can have confidence when they step forward that our system has stepped forward to support them.
A Step Forward campaign will include new signage of DTA buses, billboards, advertisements, and online messages. President Biden visited Minnesota to tour an engine and alternative power factory. On Monday, Biden spoke at the Cummins Power Facility. This is part of his Investing in America tour, an effort to highlight his legislative accomplishments ahead of a 2024 campaign announcement. The company he visited makes parts for electric vehicles. When speaking about the economy, Biden said he wants more products made in America.
Before the pandemic, supply chain wasn't something most Americans spent much time thinking about. But today, after delays for parts and products, everyone knows why supply chains are so important. Instead of relying on equipment made overseas in places like China, and supply chains will be again made in America. They'll begin in America.
Biden also made remarks on his economic agenda and clean energy. Vice President Kamala Harris also stopped at a solar panel plant in Georgia to highlight clean energy. Local governments will be allowed to impound repeat reckless drivers' cars thanks to a bill signed by Governor Tony Evers. The Republican-led measure is part of a push to crack down on reckless driving. The bill allows counties and municipalities to pass ordinances allowing police to take reckless drivers' vehicles if the driver has a prior reckless driving citation and hasn't paid the fine. This is the first bill Evers has signed into law since the legislative session began. For the third straight year, Granite Peak hosted their annual Cardboard Cup, giving contestants an opportunity to create their own sleds from scratch and put them to the test. Nolan Bullman shows us some of the wacky rides from the sledding event.
It's one thing to go sledding with a regular sled, but thanks to the Cardboard Cup, it gives participants the opportunity to create their own sled from scratch, racing them on Wausau's biggest and highest stage.
3, 2, 1, go!
At the annual Cardboard Cup, imagination becomes a reality. From riding alongside a tiger to riding on a mobile Ferris wheel, contestants create their own sleds to race off in a friendly competition, serving as a fun event for all to enjoy.
Only do skiers and snowboarders get involved, but the entire community. They create these contraptions made out of cardboard, duct tape, and zip ties, and it's always amazing to see what they create, and then they bring it up the hill and we race down.
In order to create a great sled, it starts with having a great team.
We came up with a plan together, and my friend Ashley was great. She came up with a concept, and then we just had teamwork and we built it together, and it was actually a very fun process.
From the community to Granite Peak staff, the Cardboard Cup creates an experience to remember.
It's such a great time for all of our staff at these events. We always look forward to it because of the creations that everybody brings, and you start seeing them come into the parking lot and you wow, I can't wait to see how that one is, and it's a great time to be behind the scenes as well.
What a race!
Setting up for more exciting Cardboard Cups to come.
I would encourage everybody in the local community to come out. Basically, you get to create something out of household items and meet all these other people that did the same thing, and it's just a great time.
I just think it's a fun thing to do for the community, and we encourage anyone else who wants to do it to come up with a fun design and participate next year. Do it. Rex says do it.
After the Cardboard Cup, Granite Peak will be open Friday through Sunday next week before closing for the season and preparing for next winter.
Well, sure is a pretty cloudy start here this morning across the area. Those clouds are really not going anywhere. They will continue to spread across the area and eventually lead to some rain showers, which is exactly what's in the forecast here for today, and maybe even some strong thunderstorms late afternoon, especially as we head into the evening. 46 for the high temperature today. For tonight, we are looking at 39 degrees, a bit windy out there too. Thunderstorms also possible, especially early on into the evening hours. Let's get a check on your zone forecast today. La Crosse County highs into the mid-40s. La Crosse, you're looking at 46. Minduro to the north at 44. 47 today in Stoddard, 44 in Viroqua, and 50 today in Gays Mills. Further up towards the north along our central zones today, we're looking at highs in the 40s. Trempealeau at 44. And lastly, the Chippewa Valley today, highs for you into the upper 30s. So a check now on your DriveCast calls for some of those cloudy skies here for the morning commute. You may run to a few light rain showers for your lunch hour, and also maybe even some scattered showers. Maybe even a couple rumbles of thunder are possible by the time we reach early this evening for the DriveCast, which, by the way, we're going to talk about as well coming up in the full weather forecast. I'll time things out. I'll let you know when the best chance of severe weather will be. Plus, we'll get a sneak peek here as we head into next week here as well. But also coming up in our Buzz Report after the break, the exciting news about a new Disney live action movie. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, it sure is a very cloudy start here this morning. As you can see behind me from City Cam 8 in downtown La Crosse, our current temperatures are at 42 degrees currently in La Crosse, but we got a bit of a wind chill there around 37 degrees thanks to that east-northeast breeze, very light at around 8 miles an hour. Current conditions to the north in Eau Claire, partly cloudy skies for you. Temperatures at 35 degrees, but it does feel like 29 when you factor in the wind chill. Northeast winds at around 8 miles an hour here. Very cloudy weather continues to move in across the Coulee region from the west. And this is all associated for what is developing to our west in the form of a broad trough of low pressure. We're going to be watching the system closely, especially the stationary frontal boundary currently positioned to the south, which eventually is expected to turn into a warm front and move north. And that is going to help spark off cloudy skies, rain showers, and some thunderstorms in association with it. So as you can see, today's severe weather outlook does call for widespread severe weather. These are the same spots that actually just got hit last week, if you remember, on Friday, including us here in the Coulee region. Got a couple of moderate risk areas associated here with this severe weather potential here. The severe weather potential here for us here in the Coulee region calls for a slight risk of severe weather highlighted in yellow. Main timing here for us is between 8 to 11 p.m. with hail being the primary risk, followed by some gusty winds and some of those stronger thunderstorms. Localized street flooding is also a possibility here, but maybe even a couple of isolated tornadoes can't even be ruled out here anywhere in the Coulee region. We'll keep our eyes on this potential, but we'll time it out here for you. Rain showers begin to move in at around noon today, followed by some scattered showers perhaps around 4 o'clock, 46 degrees, and then some thunderstorms begin to roll in as we head into early on this evening. And you'll see it here as we time things out on Sky Tracker. Once that warm front begins to move in our general direction, we're actually going to be looking at some rain showers forming just along that, just north of that front rather, by around noon today. And then we may get a bit of a break here around 3 o'clock and also into 7 o'clock. But here you can see widespread thunderstorms developing at around 10 o'clock tonight as that system continues to pull in our general direction. This is when we can expect some of those gusty winds, maybe even a little bit of hail, and the possibility does exist for a couple of isolated tornadoes and some of those stronger cells that begin to move our way. I do expect that everything should clear out of here by around 2 o'clock in the morning tonight once the main system continues to move in our general direction. Here's 6 o'clock in the morning by tomorrow, and you can see the lows basically right on top of us. That just means that our pressures will be dropping out here quite a bit. Cloudy skies here perhaps as well on the back side of the system as we head into early tomorrow morning. And the precipitation actually will change over to snow on the northwest side of the system as those temperatures cool down. Maybe even a couple of flurries could move their way towards the south. I'm not really expecting a whole lot of that though here. By 4 o'clock this afternoon, we are looking at some gusty winds up to around 25 25 to 30 miles an hour as that system approaches us. On the backside, those winds really pick up as we head into tomorrow afternoon. We could see gusts up to anywhere between 30 to 40 miles an hour here at times before those wind speeds begin to settle down as we head into Thursday evening here. So looking ahead, once this low pressure system exits the area, we're going to be watching high pressure developing well to our south and west here as we head into Thursday. And it looks like the same system will move in our general direction over the Great Lakes as we head into Friday afternoon. That should cause some nice weather to work with to wrap things up here by the end of the work week. And at the same time, our temperatures will be warming up well into the 60s here for Saturday and Sunday. There will be a slight chance of thunderstorms, however, on Sunday.
So excited and happy to announce that a live-action reimagining of Moana is in the works.
Reporter Dwayne Johnson went back to Hawaii to announce he'll return as the demigod Maui in a live-action version of the animated hit Moana. He'll also be a producer on the film, which is in development. Johnson says he's proud of his Pacific Islander heritage, including his late grandfather, a wrestler known as the Flying Hawaiian.
I think he likes me. What the?
Your host acquired.
Who said that? It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
Alien biotech turns a young man into a superhero, Blue Beetle. Xolo Maridueña takes on the title role in the first solo movie for a Latino superhero. Blue Beetle soars into theaters August 18th. It reminds me of another Marvel movie, but it'll be on my list.
Yeah, I think that would be on my bucket list too. I could always enjoy an action-packed movie. You know, that looks like fun. So.
Thanks, Derek. Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
All right, happy 8 months to Daisy Joe. Her mom wants to wish her a happy birthday today. Who's, 8 months.
Happy 8 months to Bristol. Bristol is a very happy girl who loves her family. Loves her family very much.
Happy 8 months to Kennedy. Kennedy is a sweet, and she's also very adventurous. She's also a little rock star.
Happy 8th birthday to Liliana. She loves to dance, run track, and go swimming.
All right, so if you know a special someone that's turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for the Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website. Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is up next. Time for your Morning News Now. Wisconsin's spring election is today. As you begin to head to the polls, here's a reminder of what could be on your ballot. Northside La Crosse voters will decide 2 new Common Council members. Voters in the La Crosse School District will elect 4 new school board members from 8 candidates and vote on a $60 million operating referendum. We have a statewide advisory referendum on welfare, and La Crosse, Eau Claire, and Vernon counties have an advisory referendum on the state's current abortion ban. Those votes will not lead to any legal changes. Every state voter will decide on a Supreme Court race in a binding referendum on bail reform. There will also be several school district referendums across our viewing area. The La Crosse County Clerk has a major piece of advice when it comes to referendum questions.
Do your research on the referendum questions ahead of time. They're long questions, so there's going to be a lot of reading at the polls. We feel that's probably what's going to back up the polls, if anything does, is just the time it's going to take voters to get through all the referendum questions.
If you are registered to vote, just bring an ID like a passport, driver's license, or student ID. In Wisconsin, you can register at your polling place. If you still need to register, you need to bring proof of residence, a photo ID, and your driver's license. If you'd like to confirm what's on your ballot, you can check myvote.wisconsin.gov. There are 2 questions on today's ballot that could change the Wisconsin state constitution. These amendments could change that. Currently, the state constitution allows judges to consider how likely the defendant is to appear in court and protect community members from serious bodily harm. The First Amendment could change the Constitution to say serious harm instead of serious bodily harm. The second would allow judges to consider things like prior convictions for a violent crime when setting bail. New parking prices are now in effect. For now on, people parking in ramps will have to pay $1 for every hour. There's an $8 maximum. The Riverside ramp will stay free. Overnight hours and weekend hours will remain free as well. La Crosse MTU is offering free rides today for Election Day, but one route will look a little different. MTU bus stops from East Avenue and La Crosse Street to Pine Street and Campbell Road will be closed. Both Route 4 buses will use La Crosse Street and to 22nd and 22nd to Campbell Road routes. Temporary bus stops will be set up at the corners of East Ave and La Crosse Street and Hillview Ave. Xcel Energy customers struggling to pay for heat and energy can now get a helping hand from Xcel and the La Crosse County Salvation Army. The partnership created Heat Share, an extension with Xcel's Home Energy Assistance Program. Families in need can apply for one-time bill assistance of up to $1,000 between now and October 1st. Since the program is on a first-come, first-served basis, Salvation Army officials say it's better to act right now.
The program runs until funds are exhausted. Each family can request up to $1,000 of aid. To be approved for the aid, they would need to bring in their current Xcel Energy bill, their disconnect notice, proof of residency, and proof of income.
If you need help, you can call the Salvation Army to schedule an appointment. We have a link with eligibility criteria and more info on our website.
As you head out the door this morning, we are looking at mainly cloudy skies here throughout much of the morning. Temperatures in the upper 30s, low 40s. Rain is likely to move in by 11 o'clock this morning. The rain will continue through much of the day today before we'll start to turn into some of these rain showers into strong to possibly severe storms by this evening. So we'll keep tabs on that here. And then into early tomorrow, maybe a few scattered showers into tomorrow morning, but it will be pretty windy tomorrow, hence the alert day for tomorrow. Thursday and Friday, partly to mostly cloudy. Our temperatures are going to warm up into the 60s this weekend. Highs into the mid-60s this weekend and also into early next week. And lows are going to go from the 20s here to the 40s as we head into this weekend and also into early next week as well.
This weekend will be nice with this weather because it's Easter.
Yeah.
Everyone will be able to be outside. Maybe Sunday not so much because of the thunderstorms, but Saturday it'll be a nice weekend to be outside.
Yeah, it won't be too bad. Enjoy the warm air.
I know, you just gotta get through the thunderstorms that we're getting today.
Yeah, kind of have to get through that. Maybe a little cooler tomorrow, and yeah.
I know, I'm sick of the doom and gloom.
Well,
I want the sun, Derek.
It's
Bring
coming.
me the sun.
I'm trying my best. Hey, listen, I'm just the messenger.
I know.
That's what I always say from Mother
Don't kill the
Nature.
messenger.
Yeah,
I know.
that's right.
I was telling Eric that yesterday.
Yep.
But thanks, Derek. And thank you for watching News 8 Now. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com. We will have the latest updates to today's top stories on News 8 Now at noon. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you for watching News 8.